This is an urgent message about the role of Islam in the end times. You know, people like me have been speaking about these things for literally years. And a lot of the things we've been speaking about have been manifesting right before our very eyes.
See in this vision of Jerusalem a temple rebuilt, sacred to Jews and Arabs, to the Messiah and to the Mahdi.
Significant Mahdi claimant, somebody who's claiming to not only be the Mahdi, but claiming to be the Pope for all Christians, is insane. And this is something that we've been waiting for a long time.
Israel has been trying to work peace treaties between Hamas and the PA. Now Hamas will be elevated, which I said many years ago.
This is going to take place on the mountains of Israel, the last battle to determine who is going to rule the world. Alrighty, first things first, I want to give a quick shout out to my Kingdom Generals who helped me to make this content and support this work. This also includes our Royal Commanders. There's 2 of them so far, so I love you guys so much. Your support really helps this channel move forward as quickly and efficiently as possible because we have a lot to say. So if you want to become a member today and get access to exclusive content from Kingdom Covenant, you can go ahead and grab one of these badges today. Let me show you guys how to do so. All you have to do to join is go to my channel page right here, click join, and it'll give you all of the options for you to help us out. Now, without further ado, let's get right back into the video. All of us are being set up to look in the wrong direction when the right direction the Bible has been pointing at has been the Middle East this entire time. This is where the little horn of the 4th beast within the book of Daniel is coming from. And I made these slides for us today so that we can actually go into this. And I want you guys to understand the mystery of the beasts. Okay, because the mystery of the beasts unlocks all of this once you understand who the 4 beasts are in the book of Daniel. And Daniel is such an amazing prophet because he gives us this beast, and we see this beast again in Revelation chapter 13. Okay, so what is this beast ultimately? And again, if you guys leave your chats down below, I might do a question and answer period, so make sure you have your questions ready to go. Now we're going to dive into the actual beast that the Bible describes, the beast of Revelation 13. Okay, so it starts off right here. It says, the dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and I saw a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. The beast that I saw resembled a leopard, but had the feet like those of a bear, and a mouth like that of a lion. Interesting. Okay, so this beast encompasses, is like a amalgamation or a hybrid of 3 other beasts, a lion, a leopard, and a bear. And we know, according to the book of Daniel, that the Lion Empire was referenced as Babylon. Okay, so right here, you're going to see that it's King Nebuchadnezzar. The kingdom was the Babylonian Empire, and this is the rule that he reigned. He reigned kind of in the Fertile Crescent. It was the first major empire that rose after the Egyptian Empire. That's the first beast, the lion beast. Now, secondly, when we look at the bear, that's going to be Medo-Persia, who conquered Babylon, totally crushed and devoured everything in its wake, and took over the Middle East and became one of the largest land empires that ever existed, only rivaled by Rome and the first Greek Empire. And then the third beast, of course, is going to be the Grecian Empire under Alexander the Great. Are we understanding what's happening here, guys? When it says that it is like a lion, a leopard, and a bear, it's talking about these geographical nations surrounding Israel having total dominion of the Middle East. That's what those 3 beasts represent. Okay, so once we go back, we can talk about the statue of Daniel 2. Okay, we've gone over the 3, but then the 4th beast arises, and it's more terrifying than any of the other beasts. It says right here, then I, Daniel, wanted to know the meaning of the 4th beast, which was different from all the others and most terrifying. With its iron teeth and bronze claws, the beast that crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. Okay, so the beast that he saw represented a leopard, had the feet of a bear, and the mouth of a lion. When we put all of these beasts together, it is again the Middle East. That's essentially what the Bible has been telling us from ancient prehistory, 3,000 years ago. Daniel saw this coming. Okay, that is the 4th beast. Now, what happens next? Okay, what happens next after the Roman Empire was the Islamic caliphate that totally crushed, devoured, both spiritually, physically, geographically, the entire Middle East. That's what the Islamic caliphate did. And that it must be the fourth beast, because the fourth beast had to be an amalgamation of the first three. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm trying to make it make sense for you guys. This is where we start to get into the kings and the Antichrist himself. So in Daniel 7:20, it says, I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on its head, and about the other horn that came up, before which 3 of them fell. The horn that looked more imposing than the others, and that had eyes and a mouth that spoke boastfully. As I watched, this horn was waging war against the holy people and defeating them, until the Ancient of Days came and pronounced judgment in favor of the holy people of the Most High. And the time came when they possessed the kingdom. Okay? So if we know that this beast is in fact the caliphate, and there's going to be 10 kings that rise up, and amidst those 10 kings comes another king who's more imposing, this is what we're looking at right here. We're not looking at some Mahdi claimant who's living up in the US, who's advocating for peace. That's not what we're looking for, guys. We're looking for a massive Middle Eastern empire that is waging war with the Jewish people. Okay? So I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Write down your comments if you actually believe that this guy from the religion of peace and light is the Antichrist, because clearly he cannot be. However, we do know where the Antichrist is coming from, and we do know relatively when. All right? So it says, he gave me this explanation. The fourth beast is a fourth kingdom that will appear on earth. It will be different from all other kingdoms and will devour the whole earth, trampling it down and crushing it. However, the fourth beast, as the caliphate, represents not only just political control, geographical control, but it exhibits spiritual control. Okay? Everybody who finds themselves in this region right here it will crush, devour, trample down, not only militarily, not only geographically, but it will do so spiritually. And so that's why when we talk about the Pope or the papacy of the Pope, a lot of people say, oh, it's going to be Rome that's going to be doing this. That's the fourth kingdom of iron. Guys, we're not going to see the Pope beheading Christians. That's not how it works. The Pope believes in the Trinity. The Pope believes in Christian doctrine. What we're dealing with here is a much more sinister Islamic, politically threatening empire. So as we go back to Revelation 13, we should start to understand what it meant when it said that this beast had 10 horns and 7 heads. Okay, he saw it. It resembled a leopard, a bear, and a lion. It was different from all the former beasts. It had 10 horns. Now, horns within the book of Daniel always represents kings. So it's essentially saying it will have 10 kings, and from one of those will arise the little horn. That's who the Antichrist is described as. Okay, the little horn. So right here on the map, I've put 10 kings in the Islamic Caliphate, and then you have the one little horn that rises up amidst them. He is going to be the one that enacts this great war, this great conflict. Okay. It says, what does it say about this little horn? It says he will speak against the Most High and oppress his holy people and try to change the set times and laws. The holy people will be delivered into his hand for time, times, and half a time. Guys, that's 3.5 years. The holy people, Christians and Jews in the Middle East and possibly in other areas, are going to be given over to this man who is actively speaking against the Most High. He's speaking against his dominion, against his rule. That's what he's doing. And again, this is the little horn, okay? And the beast, the little horn, the Antichrist, was given a mouth uttering haughty and blasphemous words, and it was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling. That is, those who dwell in heaven. Guys, let me give you a secret here. Many people, when they read this part, they miss the fact that the Antichrist not only speaks against God, but speaks against his dwelling. Where is God going to dwell? He's going to dwell in Zion. He's going to dwell in Jerusalem. So he is speaking against where God is going to dwell, and is also speaking against God himself. This is important because it comes in the picture later. When we compare Daniel's vision of the beast to Revelation's vision of the beast, it's almost exactly the same. Daniel just says he will speak against the Most High, whereas Revelation says it opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling. Daniel says the holy people will be delivered into his hands for a time, times and half a time, and Revelation says it was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. Okay, 42 months is exactly what a time, and half a time is. And if you break 42 months down even further, that becomes 1,260 days, 3.5 years. So this is where we as Christians get the 3.5 year reign of the Antichrist. It's from these passages. Okay. Now, here's where it gets crazy. This is really gonna get crazy right here. Is that since we understand that God's throne is coming down to Jerusalem, Zechariah says the Lord roars from Zion. It is his holy mountain. That's where God is going to come back in Jesus Christ and rule from for 1,000 years. Okay, it says right here in Psalm 132, for the Lord has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his dwelling. This is my resting place forever and ever. Here I will sit enthroned, for I have desired it. So what would be the purpose of speaking against that throne? Well, you can see right here that Satan throughout all time has been surrounding God's throne with hostile enemy nations. So this is what Satan has been doing since the beginning of time, is surrounding Israel, trying to destroy her, because he knows that is where God is going to dwell. But here's where it gets even deeper. Okay. Does anybody remember the Ark of the Covenant? Anybody? Somebody comment down below the Ark of the Covenant. Okay. The Ark of the Covenant, when it was built to symbolize something even greater. So there was what's known as the mercy seat, which was kind of like right before the top part or portion of the ark. You have the cherubim, who are essentially guarding the middle post of it. And then it literally says that God dwelt in the midst of the ark, right there in between the angels. So interesting, isn't it? How God used to dwell. And the Levite priests, what they would do is they would carry it. That's why they had the poles. They would carry it and walk around with God literally dwelling on the mercy seat. Okay, it says right here in Exodus 25, there I will meet with you, and from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubim, which are upon the ark of the testimony, I will speak to you about all that I will give you in commandment for the sons of Israel. Wow, that's crazy. So God was literally dwelling on this ark. Okay, but there's something even deeper here as well, because God doesn't just dwell wherever. If you go back to the book of Genesis, God couldn't even dwell in the Garden of Eden because the Adam and Eve sinned so profoundly and they were kicked out of the garden. And so God stopped basically dwelling with man after that because their sin was so grievous. However, when you look at what happens with the Ark of the Covenant, they are sprinkling blood on the east side of the mercy seat to atone for the sins of the people. Okay, we read this right here. And he, the Levites, shall take some of the blood of the bulls and sprinkle it with his finger on the mercy seat on the east side. And before the mercy seat shall sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times. That's what they were supposed to do to atone for the sins of the people. So what it symbolized is that God's dwelling, where he's going to dwell, requires atonement for sin. The book of Hebrews says, indeed, under the law, almost everything is purified with blood. And without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness of sins. All right. And then I have a couple more verses here from Leviticus, but this is the main point the Bible has been telling us all the way back before the caliphate, before the Roman Empire, right after Egypt. He made this Ark of the Covenant to symbolize where I'm going to dwell physically needs to have atonement for sin. This is why Christ's death was so crucial. John 1-4:10 says this, in this is love. Not that we have loved God, but that he has loved us and sent his son to be the propitiation for our sins. Matthew 26, this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. The next day, Jesus was coming towards him. This is John the Baptist in the book of John. And he said, behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. Okay. Oh, you know what? I think we might be having some issues. Oh, no, we're good, guys. Sorry. Yeah, so Christ's death was that atonement. Very important to understand. So, since we know that God is going to dwell in Israel and he has chosen Zion for his resting place, and he has made atonement as essentially Christ is the new Ark of the Covenant, God would dwell on earth through Christ's atonement. That's how he's going to dwell on earth. And so, of course, you're going to have Satan and his minions, all these demons are going to try to destroy Israel and surround her with pagan Islamic nations. That's essentially what he has been doing. Okay. Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you had known me, you would have known my Father also. Okay. And so let's go here. And guys, let me grab a quick drink because I've been like talking. I talk super fast. So if I'm talking way too fast, somebody comment. Right. So we look back into what's going to happen right here. It says, the 10 horns that you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received royal power, but they are to receive authority as kings for 1 hour with the beast. The 1 hour can be symbolized as, you know, time times and half a time. For 3.5 years, they're going to be given power to wage war on the Lamb. That's what the beast is doing. These are of one mind in verse 13. They hand over their power and authority to the beast. They will make war on the Lamb. So the end times is essentially the final battle, right? The battle of Armageddon or Armageddon is where this is going to take place on the mountains of Israel. That's what this is one final battle. Okay. And as we continue, it says right here, as I watched, this horn was waging war against the holy people and defeating them. It opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name, Yahweh, I am, and his dwelling. Now it makes sense why he's attacking his dwelling, is because it's been atoned for.